So we're looking at Figma Motion, and we've introduced ourselves to animator presets. But if you've done any animation before, you'll know that the cool stuff happens with keyframes, and digging into the detail of keyframes. Keyframes are essentially the recording of 2 points in time, and we'll use the software, and in this case it'll be Figma Motion, to create a transition between those 2 points in time. You can see with this animation I've got a bunch of different keyframes, and if I just stop here, I can select those keyframes in the timeline. I can move them around in the timeline. I can select them, delete them, copy them and paste them, which is really good. Let's go ahead and make something sort of like that, a little bit of a logo animation. I've selected this blank keyframe with just some, it's not blank, it's got some graphics on it, doesn't have any animation, yet you can see that our animation timeline is empty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, here's our keyframe here, I'm going to start with the text. So let's select the text, and I'm going to create a keyframe. So over in our properties over here, you'll see all our normal properties, and in this case like position and scale. And next to each of those is a little diamond, which is the add keyframe icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a keyframe at 0 here, and I'm going to change the scale of that to 0. So that keyframe records the scale of that layer at 0%. And then I'm going to move forward in time to 600-ish, somewhere there, and now I'm going to change this figure here, and because my timeline indicator is in a different spot, if I move this to 100, change that value to 100, it will reveal itself again, but it will create an animation. So this sort of looks like the animators that we were adding before. It's an instance of animation in our timeline. 2 keyframes will create some movement, and so now if I hit the spacebar, you can see we've got some animation occurring, which is good. I'm going to do the same thing with the other element here. We might go with scale again, but this time I'm going to make the scale 300%, so we'll make it really big, and then as it lands on top of that text, we'll make that 100. So again, we've got 2 keyframes, we've created animation. So that's looking pretty good. We can also layer up the animation, property animations within one element to create more complex stuff. So we've got scale so far, but let's go in and add some transparency. So I'm going to add a keyframe on this graphic element, and we'll drop the transparency to 0 there, and then we'll move to this endpoint. I'm holding shift down and it will snap here. Let's turn that back to 100. And that's kind of looking smoother. That's, I don't know, vaguely what I want. Now I said we can move our keyframes around. So if I wanted to, I could drag these and kind of offset that animation, which may or may not be good. Maybe we'll do that with the scale. So it's giving it a little bit of different variation in that movement. The other thing that we can do, touched on this in the previous video, is we can add some easing. And easing is the idea that things don't move at a consistent velocity in the natural world. and we use easing to kind of make our animations a little bit more organic. If I hover over a motion instance, we'll get this little icon here, and this is our easing icon. If I click it, it'll bring up this easing panel. Currently, by default, I think it's default, well, all of these have a particular easing applied to them, which is this easy ease in, and you can see that there's a graph of the movement between these two keyframes, and it's a curve. It's like this nice kind of S shape. Let me pull down this menu here and we'll have a look at some of the different curve options. So linear is a constant velocity. It's moving at the same speed from the start to the finish, whereas ease in, it will start quicker and then move at a constant velocity. Let me see if we can hide some of these. See if you can tell. Actually, I'll hide the so it's just got a bit of a softer start to it compared to the linear, which is moving at a constant velocity. So I think it's good to get used to playing around with these and adjusting your easing. Have a look at ease in, ease out. As opposed to a couple of these snapback options. So we'll ease out and then we'll snap back. So this is going to give us a little bit of a bounce where it overshoots its scale and then slips back into that percentage that I set, which is pretty good. There's also, under the spring option here, we've got a bunch of, we've got the option to kind of really customize it. And if I grab this handle, I can really emphasize some of these elements, or I can emphasize that snapback. I can customize it for sure. And there is some presets in here. So if I wanted like a bouncy kind of option, I can make it kind of a bit more elastic. So let's turn those back on and see how we go. Let's make this timeline a little bit more complicated. I'm going to get the text to rotate a little bit and wobble for a moment through the midsection here. So we're just going to building these animations on. So at about this point here, holding shift to snap, I'm going to come to the rotation property over here, create a keyframe, and then over here at 800, I'm going to just rotate that a little bit and scrub that through. Cool. And then at 1000, if I can get there, probably easy to just type it in like so. I'm going to rotate it back the other way. Cool. And then I'm going to copy this starting frame here, and at 1200 I'll paste that in there, so it'll go back to that same spot. So now we've got a little bit of a wobble, and let's outro this. So I think we'll go with maybe position, because we haven't tried position, but so on each of these, on the sign, I'm going to add a position keyframe, and change the position. I'm going to scrub that, or maybe I can come and grab that handle and move that all the way off, like so. And I'm going to do the same for the other element. Oops, this element. It's going to be a position keyframe at the start, and then holding shift down to lock it with that one. I'm going to grab that handle, and you can see that our elements have these handles that we can use the move tool to rotate and move things around, which is handy. And that's my animation. I might just, while we're here, stack on some opacity, grab select both of those and add a opacity keyframe for both of them, so it seems we're doing this at the same time, and then I'll drop that down to 0 so it's kind of fading out as well. Leave that as ease in, ease out, and that's looking good. Alright, so we've set some keyframes, customized our keyframes, and I think you're going to find that this is a much kind of detailed and customizable way of creating your animation.